I am not a medical doctor. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. And honestly, hopefully that just helped you click off the video and you're not thinking about doing anything like this because this is all bad news, okay? So I'm just talking to talk, yapping, blah, blah, blah. All right, don't listen to what I'm saying. Yo, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about another peptide and how it dramatically improved certain health markers on my labs and something that you may want to include, maybe just for that reason alone. So especially if you are someone who is taking gear, it is important that you are keeping tabs on your health markers, getting your blood work, keeping everything in check, etc. What is something, the peptide that we're talking about today, that has actually helped a number of these health markers that are actually super important to keep intact while on gear? Now, you guys have heard me talk about Retatrutide for many different reasons on this channel so far, largely just the fat loss benefits that it has, all the clients that you've seen me transform with and without Retatrutide, but of course on those videos we're referencing the clients that have used Retatrutide. And today we're talking about it a little bit differently, even though I love how it has absolutely kept my body composition insane throughout this gaining phase as I'm getting bigger. I'm about, how much did I weigh this morning? I think it was 245 at about 6'1", so not too bad. Definitely the biggest and leanest that I've been. So it definitely works. It definitely works. Now, I'm going to show a quick before of my labs. Look, there are some things. Now, understand that obviously, depending on the person, certain markers are going to be more off for whatever you might be taking or whatever your lifestyle might be like. Or in my case, like I have sleep apnea, so my CBC is always looking a little bit more off. I have to do blood donations more frequently to keep these things in check. Just little things. But generally speaking, still before and then and after on how well things actually improved with Retatrutide in the mix. And I do believe that Retatrutide was strongly the direct correlating factor there in terms of some of those large improvements. Now, of course, I do my due diligence. Obviously, I coach for a living and I keep my health markers in pretty good check, okay, to be honest with you. Even without Retatrutide, I can keep things aligned pretty well. But I think that given what I had been using, testosterone and Anavar at reasonable doses, I think it was pretty good, okay? So with that said, that is also kind of the correlating factor there on why I think the Reta was actually working pretty damn well. Now with that, as I've mentioned, all the other positive benefits that it does have, today we're just going to lay out what health markers I actually believe from my own blood work that Retatrutide is relatively responsible for actually improving and keeping in a better place. So if we're just talking about Retatrutide for a quick moment, obviously being a triple agonist, it is more effective than a mono agonist or a dual agonist, right? Say such as, semaglutide or tirzepatide, and theoretically on paper should be better for anything metabolically, satiety purposes, from an insulin sensitivity standpoint. From every angle, to me, Retatrutide fits the piece of the puzzle best at doing what I'm talking about today anyways. But just a little bit of a background on Retatrutide. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with it at this point. Now, if we're just going to start with what research actually shows, obviously weight loss and body composition, and a lot of good things can just happen naturally from weight loss and body composition. So I guess you can say Retatrutide indirectly affects those things by helping you with your body composition and weight loss, but we're just kind of going over some things that Retatrutide is proven to do and then what I've actually seen it do. So when we're referencing some of the trials, blood pressure, this is a big one, okay? And this is something that I've struggled with. It's actually something even within my family that everybody struggles with to a degree. So it's been nice to see how much of a positive effect that it's had on my blood pressure because, side note, this is what they call the silent killer, okay? And if you're not keeping that in check, well, that's a problem, okay? It's one of those things that you have the easiest ability to check on a daily basis. Blood work, I understand, is a little bit more extensive to get done. I mean, it's not that hard, especially if people say, for example, connected to me through coaching. We have a link they can go through me to get it done. It's very easy and simple, but it's probably more excuses than anything, right? for people to not get their blood work done. But point is, you can get your blood pressure checked daily. You just have a blood pressure cuff at your house. In all trials, the systolic had lowered and the diastolic had lowered. So in all trials, in every individual. So it's a very clear indication that Retatrutide helps with that. And I've seen it in myself as well. But again, we'll get into that part. We're talking about everything that it helps with on paper and then what I've actually seen. As far as the insulin resistance markers go, your fasting glucose, hemoglobin A1C, all that kind of stuff should improve. Now, obviously, that kind of stuff can improve from the weight loss and body composition changes. So you can say that's an indirect benefit from the Retatrutide, but either way, still the Retatrutide influences this. Also, the GIP receptor that it acts on definitely is helping the way that you process carbs and food overall and things like that. So that's a number one reason too that you'll start to see everything there improve. This is a big one. So your lipid profile, right? You'll notice triglycerides come down, and you'll notice that I believe it affects your, I'll have to double check. I mean, I will say what I've seen in my blood work, but I guess based on, studies and everything like that, I know for sure it can pull your LDL down. Absolutely. I don't know if it can positively affect your HDL on paper. I will show my blood work and show what happened. It did, but again, there also is the fact, of course, like naturally, let's put it this way. I just want to take a second. You know how sometimes you become more intentional with things when you know you have something in the mix? For example, say you start a cycle of 250 tests and it's your first cycle. Aren't you automatically probably going to eat better than usual? Aren't you automatically going to train a little bit harder than usual? You know what I'm trying to say? To get more out of it. So I'm sure there's a little bit of that as well, but that's not the main thing. It's definitely the red. So kidney improvements and things like that, I didn't see anything worsening, but again, that is something that on paper it's supposed to be able to help with as well. And then I guess to finalize, or the last thing to really cover, is just cardiometabolic markers and things like that should overall improve. And that kind of aligns with the lower blood pressure, the lipid profile, like all that kind of stuff improving already. But that's where I would finalize just the overall grasp of what it should be helping with. Now, again, let's go ahead and show the before and after of my blood work again. Obviously, significant improvement. So let's just talk about the main things that I was surprised to see such improvements on. One being the lipid profile, right? My HDL, LDL, and triglycerides, everything freaking looked superb while on a cycle, while on Retatrutide. And I know for sure, based on previous panels I've seen with myself on cycle, this was really good, okay? So I know for sure there's a direct correlating factor there with the Retatrutide. 2, my blood pressure, definitely better, okay? This is something that already trends a little bit higher for me just generally, like even as a natural. So yeah, it's something I had to watch out for when I was on cycle. It helps keep everything pretty balanced, pretty solid across the board. So that's a no-brainer for me. That and the lipid profile already kind of has me fully convinced. I'm like, dude, hell yeah. My CBC seems to be better managed. Now, there isn't really anything that I'm seeing online correlating to it being a direct benefit. I don't know if there's anything new since I'm posting this video. I don't know if there's anything out actually suggesting that it could be benefiting that. And if there is, then I'll throw it up on this video because I did see benefits there. Now, do I also take other supplementation and things like that to help keep this in check? Yes. Did I also use a different ester of testosterone to kind of help try to see if this would help? Yes. So I cannot say or attribute 100% this to the Retatrutide, but I will say overall, everything that I've seen, really, really good. These two are some of the main ones to cover, your lipid panel and your CBC, because essentially if both of these are left unmanaged, they can lead to your blood getting thicker, your arteries getting smaller, and your heart having to push harder and harder to get everything to work properly. This can happen just from like plaque buildup over time, like if your LDL and HDL and whatnot are not managed properly. And on top of that, if correlated and your CBC is out of whack and your blood is super thick, it can lead to a problem. Now that's more longer term, but again, these things add up. It's not just like, hey, you can let it be super out of whack on a cycle, and as long as you get healthy after the cycle, you're fine. I mean, yes, of course, the health phase is a real thing. Of course, that's a necessary part of it too, but you don't want to try to leave things unmanaged and ignore them. You want to try to keep it in check during. That's why this is so important, because if not, you could lead to heart attacks, blood clots, strokes, all kinds of stuff, and those are the things that you don't want. Heart disease, poor circulation. I mean, that can kind of indirectly lead to the other stuff. But this is why I think Retatrutide is so helpful in helping with those cardiometabolic markers that I told you guys about. And I think by keeping it in, you're just doing yourself a favor and potentially saving yourself longer term. I think now there is not the final trials in terms of is it safe for long-term use. I just have a feeling that whatever the negatives really are, the positives will outweigh, if you guys see where I'm going with it. And I think for enhanced individuals, this is a great thing to have in place with your stack to keep you healthier, honestly. Now, of course, purity of the peptide, can you get GI issues and all that kind of stuff? Yes, but that's if managed well and done properly, you'll be fine. I mean, I have plenty of clients that I've helped use Retatrutide that are absolutely, I mean, it's insane. It's insane results, okay? So helps to know what you're doing with it, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I just wanted to come out here, guys, and share something with you that I think is super beneficial for you guys, and I hope it helps someone, all right? If you guys are interested in coaching, applications are below in the description. You can apply there. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I appreciate the support. Leave a comment. Yes, sir. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.